Welcome to the Two Geeks and a Microphone podcast, your one-stop shop for television, movie, video games, comic books, book reviews, and more. Now, without further ado, here's Steven and Mike.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another wonderful podcast episode of Two Geeks and a Microphone. Hey, thank you so much, everybody, for being with us. We're pretty excited about today's show. I think I say that almost every week because I'm excited every week when we come to do our episodes. I am your co-host, Mr. Stephen Boster, along with the one and only Mr. Michael Shank. Say hey to everybody, Mr. Mike.
Good morning to all you geeks in geekdom land. And for my wife, I'm just going to say, we got a good one for you. It's kind of an inside joke between her and I. She'll get it when she listens.
She'll enjoy that,
yeah.
Right on.
Well, she might enjoy it. She might kick me. We'll see.
I vote for she'll kick you.
That's all right. I go for that anyway.
All right. Well, today we have an interesting episode and another wonderful, interesting guest with us. Mike, I need you to introduce our guest and also introduce our topic for the day. Would you please? Pretty please.
Yeah,
sir?
We got a great guest today. We have our third co-host, Tharen Lowery.
Good morning, everyone.
It's good to have you here, Tharen. Thanks so much for
doing
joining us.
I joke.
Oh, no problem.
I just joke.
No, that's okay. You guys are hopped up on coffee. That's why you're all so animated right now. It's all good.
I have been doing caffeine quite a bit. Yes,
Caffeine,
it's early.
I've had two coffees this morning.
Yeah. Now, Tharen, we have mentioned in previous episodes that we started to get on a certain topic, especially about Spider-Man. And Mike is like, whoa. We can't talk about this until we get Tharen on because Tharen will kill me.
Well, we did have a whole Spider-Man episode, just you and I. And I kept saying, Theron's going to be ticked. He's going to be upset with me. And sure enough, I get to work, and Theron's like, what? You did a Spider-Man? You know Spider-Man's my favorite. Yes, I know, Tharen. I'm sorry. We're going to have you on. So this is our makeup for not having Tharen on for the first time we did Spider-Man.
Yes.
All right. So in that vein, and actually, Tharen, it's always great to have you. It's
yes.
It's just good to always have you with us. What is our topic for today specifically?
So
Mike.
I came across an article a couple weeks ago that said that Marvel is considering killing off Peter Parker. And I thought this would be a good topic for us and how we feel about this. And for that matter, if Marvel has ever done this in the past, because I'm not sure if they've ever killed Peter in the past or not. Because we all know a death to a comic book character, especially the caliber of Spider-Man, is not going to be dead for too long. It's not going to be permanent.
So, real quick, give me a summation of the article. Are we saying it's one thing to kill a character. Okay, we're going to kill Spider-Man. They're actually going to come back. But when they said kill off, does that mean they're going to take another Spider-Verse character and focus on them for a while? Or what was the article really stating? Was it, hey, we're going to kill him off. We're just going to kill him and we'll probably bring him back. Or it's like, no, we're going to kill Peter Parker off. We're done with Peter Parker and we're going to focus on other Spider-Man.
I'll let you take that there.
So this one was based off of a future Elseworld story. So it was like a futuristic stakes on, hey, this, we can pretty much synthesize Spider-Man's abilities and create a clone of him based off of that. And then with that being the premise, this Beyond Corporation, it's a multi-universe corporation. This is within the Spider-Verse type of deal we're talking about. So this is one of those moments where it was like, okay, let's come up with our own variation of a Spider-Man and call him, not Peter Parker, but a different name and then we're going to go with the branding of that Spider-Man character, if I'm not mistaken. Is that pretty much a good just a synopsis of that article?
I would say so. I didn't realize that it was supposed to be a Elseworld or What If, though. Is that what you took from it?
Well, reason why I say that is because the fact that Spider-Man has been, his character has been taken over by other characters in as far as the mantle of Spider-Man. Like when he went to the future or the past, it's always another Spider version or another point in time where the radiated spider bit another person, and they became the Spider-Man of that particular time, as we saw a snippet of that in the Into the Spider-Verse movie.
Are we saying more multiverse stuff?
Yes, this is more multiverse. God. And this is a multiverse corporation.
We hit something with multiverse.
Steven doesn't like the multiverse.
The multiverse is amazing. It's multiverse everything. You got that DC too. They got what's that? Infinite Earths and everything in that nature. So yeah, it's a cool, it's a cool way to express a different character take on.
I will give you
said superhero.
Yes.
I agree with you, Tharen. Steven thinks it's lazy writing. I think it's a way to open up ideas for other characters, or, for different versions of characters. Hence the fact that we've got the Miles Morales Spider-Man, which I thought was fantastic. I loved it. I loved having this alternate version of Spider-Man, but it wasn't just taking Peter Parker and race swapping or sex swapping. It was, okay, this is the Spider-Man of this universe. He's still Spider-Man, but he's different. And I love that because it just opens up more opportunity for different storytelling. But Steven thinks it's laziness.
It depends on how it's used. Like, I love the concept of Miles Morales, but I thought Miles Morales was still part of the same universe because Peter Parker was his mentor to a certain degree.
I was going to say, but the original Peter Parker of that universe died. That's the one they memorialized in the first part of that movie.
That's true. That's true.
And that's kind of how they're doing the character take when they actually adopt a different variation of the Spider-Man. It's not because of people. I think that when folks get the shell shock of, oh, Peter Parker's dead, and they're coming up with a new Spider-Man. It's just, why they're killing off Peter Parker? He's the amazing, he's the beloved Spider-Man, and that's just like. Okay, for instance, if Bruce died instead of Thomas Wayne, and Thomas Wayne takes up Batman, nobody really gives, they don't really care, long as there is a Batman of that universe, regardless of, if he is more taxing when it comes to weapons and his utility and everything. But it's the same principle behind Peter Parker's Spider-Man. I think that's the part with the article mentioned, and that's where a lot of folks are like, oh my God, we're about to kill Peter Parker again, and they're about to come up with a different take on Spider-Man. It's like, okay, so it's not that big a deal. How they go about it is okay. We've been here before. We've been down this road.
Well, it didn't totally shock me when I read that Marvel's considering the idea of killing Peter Parker. I mean, we've seen this multiple times. Let's go back to Superman, the death of Superman. That happened. Now, granted, DC did go with, I think they played that whole death out for like a year or more, where we did not have Superman for a year or more, and we had the reign of the Superman, and which was good stories. I thought they were well done. I enjoyed it. But
see, now that was different Superman, different types of Superman, all in the same universe, not a multiverse.
Sure. But then ultimately what happened? Superman came back.
Yes.
True. There new Supermen who were different.
True. And I liked them. I liked them. Go ahead.
And Into the Spider-Verse, that version of Spider-Man didn't come back. To be honest with you, Spider-Man he's pretty vulnerable over time. He can take a lot of wear and tear, even though he goes against a lot of, worthy foes and everything. He pretty much he can die just like I'm pretty sure just like, Uncle Ben in a situation, R.I.P. Uncle Ben.
Right.
So it was just like
right.
If it's just one of those moments and everything. But I think that it's going to be a different character take. Now, the new Spider-Man, they did not talk about his traits and ability. If it's a clone of a Spider-Man, there's going to be a mutation. We already know that's going to be coming in the new variation of Spider-Man. You notice that every different Spider-Man, when they come out with a different one, it has a stronger trait of a power that Peter Parker doesn't have. Now, that is the part where it's going to make or break the new story arc with the Spider-Man.
So now,
because go ahead.
Well, with this being a clone, quote unquote, I agree with you. I think we're going to see they're going to play with.
Clarify that. Hang on a second. Let's clarify that. We didn't. So, are we saying this new Spider-Man is a clone? Is that what's happened?
That's kind of the way the article reads. That they're saying that the Spider-Man Peter Parker's going to die. Now they don't say how Peter Parker's going to die or anything like that. They just say that Peter Parker is going to die and that this corporation is going to clone Peter Parker to make a Spider-Man, a new Spider-Man. And we know if that's going to happen, you first of all, who's the corporation? Who's behind it? I mean, for all we know, it could be Oscorp. Yeah, right. It could be Oscorp that could be behind it.
This one was talking about it was more of a higher entity that's more galactic. And stuff like that. That's what the Beyond Corporation is. That's more. It's not the same as Oscorp because I think that one they wanted to try to make some synthesized version, kind of like Scarecrow. A formula that basically affects the people, and they can have the the disease and the cure type of deal.
Okay, let me step back for just a few moments. Okay, I've got to clarify something. Now, speaking of Spider-Man and speaking of clone, was there not a storyline where we had Spider-Man, or there was Spider-Man and a clone previously? There was a big battle. One of them died and went a whole long period of time. And then later on found out it was the clone. It wasn't the original.
Oh,
that was that was also a Superman story arc that was like that too.
Right. So then there was a reaction.
Well, that was in the Reign of Superman. Because the Eradicator they thought was actually Superman, and it turned out, of course, Eradicator wasn't. But all
I'm saying is, my point being is that there was a huge upset among the fans that it was the clone that survived during that moment. And my point on multiverse, I'm coming back to this daggone multiverse thing, is just continuity. Why was it that people were upset? Because it was the original. They had associated the original. Well, you gave me fake goods, kind of a thing. See, I've got no problems if you're passing the mantle down. Let's say they quote. So
you're worried that they're going to use the multiverse as an excuse in a way to just bring back Peter Parker. That's your concern.
No.
And that's where you're saying it's lazy writing.
I have no issues with what ifs.
But I got news for you. Death of Superman. It had nothing to do with multiverse, and he came back regardless.
Right, and that's not my point. Yeah,
they're going to do it. They're going to do it, and you know it.
They probably are. Just my point being is that, golly, man, let me get it out because now I'm getting flustered.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I'm teasing. The point being is I've got no problems if you're passing the mantle on, or that's what I love about Miles Morales. Miles Morales is a new character. I have no problems introducing new characters or anything like that. I think, for me, if they're going to kill off Spider-Man, quote unquote, Peter Parker or something, they're introducing a new character. I don't know if I have any issues with that unless you're trying to remake Peter Parker himself. I love the aspect of having a new character. And so that's why I was like, well, is the article saying that they're going to just get rid of Peter Parker and then go with a new character for a while? I mean, they'll probably bring him back. Or why is this time, it seems this death of Spider-Man, which, has happened probably many times, why is this time so unique? Uh-oh, dead air. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Sorry about the dead air.
I was waiting for you not to be flustered when it comes to me talking. That's what I was waiting for.
Well played, Tharen. Well played. Nicely done.
I was waiting for you to come to a complete 2 seconds pause. There we go. Now we're good.
1,000 to 1,000.
There you go. Go ahead, Tharen. Go ahead, Tharen. Rip into him.
I'm open. I'm listening.
Okay. So
anytime now.
So yes. So
we got to let him talk, man.
That's right.
So the thing, yes, you are correct when it comes down to passing on the mantle of the Spider-Man versus a version that that they come up with in order to not to stray away from the original character, like the Spider-Man, the Peter Parker version. But there's so many retellings of that Spider-Man.
Sure.
I think that's the reason why they want to say that, okay, we need to take a different take. And then this is based off of the writer that comes up with how they want to come up with a new character or a new situation for Peter Parker. We already know his particular love interest with Mary Jane, Stacy, yeah, and Gwen and everything in that nature. So it was just like, it's all of that in conjunction of that. Yeah. Yes, Black Cat, that's true. We already understand that part, but at the same time, it's just like, let's give some other takes and feels on that. Now, they always say that, we need to have a Peter Parker in the universe in order to branch off another variation of a Spider-Man type, being, person. For example, Spider-Gwen. Spider-Gwen is a big hit, but Peter Parker died in her universe, just like how they iterated that into the Spider-Verse.
Right.
So therefore, that's why that is more of a branching off point when it comes to passing down the mantle. Like Steven said, it's a more better take on that because there's always been the Peter Parker stable. Everybody knows that. That's just like trying to, everybody flipping out about, how Captain America isn't really Captain America. Remember when he basically announced that he was with Hydra?
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Flipping out like crazy.
I didn't like it.
That's exactly my point. It was like, how you're, and that's exactly the point where, you're selling them false goods because it's just like, he's Captain America. How can he go to the other team? How would you mean to tell me all this time he's been a Hydra agent, double agent? Right. No, I don't buy it. It's something that more to that, and that's what upset the fans for sure.
But see, I don't.
Same thing. Yeah, that's a great analogy. I appreciate that. Go ahead, Mike.
I don't know if I don't know if I have the same emotional level with this idea that they have with Spider-Man than I did with Captain America, and I think that's because Captain America, they were fundamentally changing the character, and I really, really hated that. Now, I got a feeling, since this is a clone and they're going to be messing with genetics here, I got a feeling we're going to get an aspect of maybe a Star Wars aspect of a Order 66 type thing being implanted into this clone, and we may get a dark version of Peter Parker. So, and I think that's where we might be going with this. We may see this dark version of this cloned Peter Parker Spider-Man, and then that's going to carry on for maybe a year. And then lo and behold, something's going to happen. Well, Peter didn't really die, and Peter's going to come back and battle this Spider-Man. And I mean, that's where I see this story going. And I'm not, I guess I love Spider-Man. Spider-Man is one of my top favorite Marvel characters, but for some reason, I'm not emotionally bothered by this than I was Captain America. Captain America bothered me, but I felt it was a fundamental change, and I felt they were actually doing it in the Captain America character, where this, I don't believe, is a fundamental change in the Peter Parker character. I think there's a difference.
I think the Captain America analogy is perfect. That's a really good one, Tharen. Thank you. That's what I mean.
Yeah, because I didn't even think about that when we.
That emotion that you got with Captain America is what I was talking about before with the previous Spider-Man storyline, where we found out, well, wait a minute, the clone is the one who survived. It wasn't. You just changed my character because that clone is not the character I fell in love with.
Sure.
And so that's what I was trying to say is. I wonder if that's the same emotional response of why people are today, this whole thing, well, we're going to kill off Peter Parker. I'm not for sure. Oh, yeah. There goes my dog. Sorry.
No problem. We're real here, man.
Yeah. And then, to think about it, like, okay, so that would be a pretty interesting story to me, Mike, if there is a altered Spider-Man, he's cloned and he's evil. The only evil kind of version we got of Spider-Man is when he went black suit Spider-Man. And that was just basically, that was off the, the simian type of deal. But we never really got like, okay, what happens if Spider-Man, he's not your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And then this clone is wreaking havoc. Then again, it's already spit. What's that? Go ahead.
I like that title. He's not your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. That is a great trademark. Freaking title.
Trademark on that.
Hurry up,
trademark on that one. Yes.
We've been doing we've been saying a lot of phrases in our recent podcast. Hashtag not your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Oh, that's great.
There you go.
I gotta write.
I like that. Ooh, that's a good title. That should be the title for this video.
I think it's going to be.
That's fine with me. It's okay.
Great idea there.
Gosh.
Have you guys played like any of the Spider-Man that's on PS5 or anything?
My stepson Troy has played it. My middle one, Jackson, he's played it. And I think both of them have beaten it. Now they have not played the Miles Morales.
Okay, the DLC for it.
Yeah, we did all the regular DLC for the regular Spider-Man or the first Spider-Man, the Insomniacs game, and they enjoyed it. And I've seen clips and that kind of a thing. It's just time for me.
Yeah, I get it.
But I do. I want to get Morales, but I'm waiting to go down in price.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
In all openness, because they've got it now where you can. PS5 footage, you can buy it. If you get the deluxe edition, you're getting all of Spider-Man, the first game with some changes, and then the Miles Morales. I'll tell you what, though, I've watched the opening sequence and stuff of Miles Morales and the opening. It's phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Yes. Yeah, the animation is really on point. Yeah,
incredible, and it already sucks you into the story. It's a good story. The beginning has, so yeah. Spoiler alert! I did watch a clips on YouTube. Someone had filmed the whole ending, and I quite enjoyed that. I thought that was good. Good storytelling. Good storytelling.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Mike.
Sorry, I spaced out. What are we talking about?
What?
Nice.
I'm not the biggest gamer. I'm sorry.
Send Mike the links to the Spider-Man so we can get caught up on the game, because I want to tell more. I want to talk about the game of Spider-Man, because obviously I'm
That's
huge
fair.
fan of it.
That's
but then
fair.
again, I want you to know like all the clips and a lot of it kind of ties in a little bit what we're talking about too, about the different variation of Spider-Man, and then the branching off of introducing Miles. And it took a while for, I would say too. The article we're basing, we're putting speculation on and everything. It could be just like one of those moments where it's, they have so much blowback from the reaction of killing Peter Parker, where they may not take the story to that great extent. That's okay. Let's just be real here about that part.
That's true.
Because it took a while for them to get Miles Morales. That was just like saying, we can't really bring Miles Morales to live action just yet because we already have an established Peter Parker. Let's just go with that. We didn't want to go with his. We just want to go with the same Peter Parker, but let's make him, the homecoming, the more teenage Peter Parker type of deal. You know what I mean?
That's a good question. Do you think we will get a live action Miles Morales?
Uh, in the future, yes. Mm-hmm.
I would like to see that. I think that
really
would be cool.
I mean, as much emphasis they're putting on him and everything, as far as within the game media, he's going to get a new take on it. I want to see a Spider-Man 99. I want to see that one. I want to see a Spider-Gwen. Yeah, that would be really cool. Oh, yeah, that's real. I like this character.
Well, I think we're going in a direction that we could get all of those live action eventually, because the rumor is in the next Spider-Man, we are getting the Andrew Garfield, we're getting Tobey Maguire, and Tom Holland. We're getting all three of them together, which I am totally excited for. I can't wait to see that.
Are you talking about Way Home? What is it called? The Way Home?
No Way Home. No Way Home.
No Way Home. We're getting them in that one?
Yes, sir.
From what I understand.
I saw the clips of it, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know.
So this goes back to your point, Steven. This could be lazy writing just so we can have all these folks in here. And then it could be just a shamble
fan service. That's fan service, and I'm okay with that.
Oh, gosh.
I'm okay with that.
Fan service.
That's fan service. Yeah, you get them all together because we already established all these characters, and you're throwing them all together.
I hate that term. I hate that term, fan service. That's an excuse right there, fan service. You know what? Yeah, I'm a fan. You're damn right. If you want me to buy this, yeah, you give me my fan service. Whatever. And
did you not have fan service in The Mandalorian when Luke Skywalker came out of that door? Did you not get your fill of your fan service there, sir?
Yep, that's right. That's right.
All right then.
So if you want to call that fan service, go ahead. Call it fan service. I don't care. I enjoyed it.
Did you enjoy it?
Yes, I did.
Okay, there we go.
That's right.
So you just said you hated it 5 seconds ago, Mike.
No. I'm saying what I'm saying is I hate that term. I hate that when people go
you hate the term. Okay.
I hate the term when they say, "Oh, well, that's just fan service." Well, you're darn right. That's fan service. I'm a fan, and I'm the one watching.
There's nothing wrong with fan service.
Right.
Let's establish that for our podcast.
Let's go ahead with.
I'm just saying
it's not a pejorative term for us.
Right. I don't like that term. That's what I'm saying. I don't like the term.
Come up with something else. What else do you call it?
I don't know. I just
So we already established fan service and multiverse lazy writing is pretty much those are the hot buttons. Those are the no-go zones.
No, they're go zones because let's go. You know, kind of a thing. But
see, I like the multiverse. I don't have a problem with it.
Well, my issue is how are you using it? How are you using the multiverse? Yeah, that's the issue. That's my point. But anyway, let's get back to Spider-Man. 3 Spider-Man. We're going to have them. I think that's cool. I think that's a fan service. Sorry, Mike. I'm not using it pejoratively. I'm not trying to be mean
I
with
know.
it.
I know.
I'm excited for it. That sounds awesome to put them together.
It's used normally in a negative tone. And I don't like it. That's all true. I'm saying. That's all
we're using it positive tone because we are fans and we like it, kind of a thing. But I will say, I want to say that if we get those 3, I keep hitting my mic. I'm sorry, everybody.
Oh crap!
Those 3.
Sorry,
if we can get 2099. I love 2099. I absolutely love 2099. If we get that, that would just be phenomenal. That'd be great.
Yeah. Oh, and the iconic meme where they all point at each other. I think that was.
I love that.
If we get the iconic scene,
I love that meme.
At each other.
Yeah.
That was it. Was that post credit for Into the Spider-Verse? That was post credits, wasn't it?
I think it was.
That was awesome. Yes.
So that was pretty cool.
That would be great if we got a real life scene of that. That would be hilarious. Hey,
so we're really saying the whole. Yeah, it would be. That actually would be funny. Well, we kind of got it with the whole Ezra Miller, Grant Gustin Flash thing together.
Sure. Yeah. True.
You know, I will say this. Is it really the death of Spider-Man? Is that really the really big issue? Or is it just what are we going to do with the character? Why was this article such an interesting why was it is what it is? Oh, they're killing Spider-Man. And people are like, oh my goodness, they're going to kill Peter Parker. You know, like, but wait a minute. We've killed Peter Parker many times before. It sells comics.
Have they killed Peter Parker many times before, though? I don't know.
They have killed his character in order to, they killed this character off just so another character can pretty much develop their own trait. Yes, that happens.
But that's within the multiverse, and that's in different universes, right? Well, I'm talking about in the current comic timeline. Have they killed this Peter Parker?
Oh, I don't know.
That's
no,
what
you're
I'm
talking about like
asking.
within the amazing.
Yeah,
the amazing Spider. You're talking about like the Ultimate Spider-Man.
Well, it's hard to say. There's so many lines of the Spider-Man comic.
There's amazing.
Yeah,
but I'm talking on Peter Parker's Earth, his universe, his realm. Have they killed off that version of Peter Parker? Because I understand in the Miles Morales universe, they killed off a Peter Parker. In the Spider-Gwen universe, they killed off that Peter Parker. I get that.
Yep.
But I'm just talking about the main Spider-Man. If we just eliminated all that for a second and we just boil it down to just the main Peter Parker that we've all known and loved for the last, 50 years or whatever, have they killed off that Peter Parker before? That's my question. And you as our resident Marvel
resident expert,
I'm asking you.
No, not to the extent to. I'm digging in my brain here right about now. Not to the extent to how this article jumped out at us in this particular take.
Okay.
But like I said, Mike, that was the Spider-Man. I don't think. No, I don't think so.
Okay.
No,
so
I don't know so as far as that. But that's why that article, they mentioned that new corporation, that multiverse corporation that was run by like these celestial, beings or whatever. That's why I think that's the direction that they're going. I don't think that for a standpoint of the industry, they want to go in that route where they take one of the characters out, unless you want to do it in like a movie or something in that nature, like a live action movie or something, but or retelling. But you can't really do that in the books because he's already established.
Sure.
That way.
Well, and that's what I said. I wasn't getting too bent out of shape about this because we've seen it multiple times that they kill off a character, and the most famous one is Superman, of course. Steve, we all watched that in real time happen. We were collecting the comic books. I remember
collecting during that time.
Yeah, we were.
That was during Rebirth, wasn't it?
No, that was before Rebirth.
That was before Rebirth.
Yeah, that was the early 90s.
Okay.
And granted, when it happened, I'm not the biggest Superman fan. I like Superman and I respect Superman as his place in superhero history. Because to me, he is the first and original superhero. So I respect him in that aspect. And I like aspects of Superman, but I'm not like a Superman fan that I am like a Batman fan or I am a Spider-Man fan. So it didn't emotionally bother me that they were killing Superman. And again, the Spider-Man doesn't emotionally bother me either because I'm just like, yeah, they're going to bring him back. Who cares? I've been down this road, It's like I said about rock bands. How many times have we seen rock bands go, "Oh, we're calling this quits. This is our last tour." Ozzy Osbourne did it in like 92 or whatever it was for the No More Tours tour. And then the very next year he had the Retirement Sucks tour. So I'm positive Peter Parker's going to come back. I don't know how other fans are reacting to this news though. Are other fans upset that they're talking about killing off Peter Parker because he is a beloved Marvel character? How is the Marvel fandom taking this news? Are they upset? Or they feel the same way I do? They just, he's going to come back. Who cares?
That article came out about a month ago, right?
Right.
Let's do like that. It came out for like around about. I haven't really seen too much buzz on it just yet because I get comic book updates and everything from Marvel, DC, and just comic book page on Facebook or whatever. But no plug, by the way. I haven't really seen too much of a reaction what you're saying and everything. It's just mainly just when an idea is floated around and it hits the scene. I guess they want to try to do field testing and see what people say about that. I think that's probably why that article really came about. And if they do come up with a way they can sell that character or sell that idea, then I guess we'll see what happens when we start reading more of the comics. But it's very interesting that you mentioned that too, Mike, because this is a comic I have read not so long ago where Eddie Brock, he's one of the, Venoms. We know him by one of the Venoms.
He isn't just one of the Venoms. He is the Venom.
Okay. This is the part where you're about to basically get your fan service not satisfied in this aspect right now.
Oh, yeah.
Because he becomes.
Why do I feel like I got to put my boxing gloves on now?
I know. I was like, what was that about? Oh.
Go for it.
Super defensive. So I was reading not too long ago that Eddie Brock, he actually loses, the symbiote. Venom passes on to another a gentleman and whatnot. I can't think of his name right off the top of my head. But then again, he does passes on to another gentleman, and then he became more of the Venom type character going forward. I'm going
to correct you on that. I'm going to correct you on that because I just watched the variant episode of that issue that you're talking about, and it isn't just anybody he passes it on to. And actually, we were just talking about this, and I was going to kind of save it for our Venom episodes, but you brought it up, so here it is.
Our Venom episode. That's all.
Right.
We're just
that's fine.
Little
teasers. In the latest episodes, the latest comics, the latest Venom comics, Eddie Brock is now what they're calling a symbiote god. So, he is in control of all the symbiotes, every one of them. He can use them to see through and all this stuff. But there's one symbiote he's not in control of, and that's the original Venom that he was originally connected to. Okay, so he is no longer in control of it, but Venom sticks with him and his son. I forget what his son's name is. So, Venom kind of sticks around. Yeah, well, no, it's not Eddie Brock Jr.
I'm making that up.
I forget his son's name, but anyway. So, and spoiler alert, if you haven't read this, I haven't read it. I just saw the variant episode on it, which was excellent, by the way.
Love variant.
Yes, Eris Kionis is awesome. Eris, if you're listening, we'd love to have you on the podcast. Got to throw that out there. Anyway, so he explains that the Venom that we all know and love sticks with Eddie's son to kind of protect him. And then there's something that happens. There's a incident, and Eddie Brock's son gets shot, and Venom combines with his son, creating the new Venom.
Anti-Venom.
Yeah. Well, no, they're saying this is Venom. This is just Venom. Okay. Because in fact, he comes back to Eddie. Now, Eddie has aged tremendously, and they said that's because him taking on all the symbiotes has just worn on him physically. So he's aged a lot more than you would think he has. And the son comes home, and the son comes home as Venom, who's even bigger now, which looks pretty darn cool. And he's got chains around his wrists, and,
like God of War.
Well, hold on. I'll hold on.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No problem. So Eddie's like, okay, and the kid's like, I'm sorry, Dad. It just kind of happened. And Eddie's like, no, I knew this was going to happen. And the kid said something about Venom, bonding with him, and he goes, no, you don't understand. We are Venom, meaning Eddie, him, Venom. They are all Venom, and which I absolutely loved. And then Eddie goes, I love this too. Eddie goes, I noticed you did something a little different with the Venom costume. What's with the chains? And the kid answers, he goes, you know what? I thought the spider webs are a little outdated. In all the comic books that I read, the characters used chains. That is a little love letter to Todd McFarlane and Spawn. Because Spawn uses the chains. Spawn has the chains wrapped around his wrist. And I love that. I love that. Because obviously Todd McFarlane was one of the original creators of Venom. One of them. You know. He's involved in
didn't realize that.
Yeah, he was involved with the original creation of Venom. The initial creation of Venom was actually a kid contest winner. A kid, they threw out a contest of, come up with an idea for a new Spider-Man costume, and this kid came up with the idea of the black costume with the white spider on it, and so on and so forth. So that initially goes to that kid, but Todd McFarlane took the character and ran with it. Honestly. So
that was Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider used a chain too.
Yes, right.
Chain.
Yep, Ghost Rider does too. And so I thought that was really cool. But that was a long, long way to get around to the fact that the new Venom is now Eddie Brock's son, and I love that because that's your whole passing it down. That I thought it was fantastic, and I think now if they decided to kill Eddie Brock off, I'd be okay with it. I'd be fine because you've passed him on. You passed it on to his son, and I think his son is going to be a good character. I think he will work just as well as Eddie Brock did. So I'm good with that. I'm fine with that. I don't see anyone in the main Peter Parker line. Okay, I'm not saying anything against Miles. I love Miles. I'm not saying anything against the 2099 Spider-Man. I think that's a great idea too. But I just don't see in this timeline, this universe, anyone good for Peter Parker to pass on the Spider-Man mantle to. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's where I am. But I'm not emotionally bothered by it because I don't think he's going to stay dead too long.
Let me see. Yeah.
So what did you find?
No, this is only the one they always talk about is the it's the same thing from the Into the Spider-Verse. It's always that same oh no, I'm sorry, he did. That's right. Is that Civil War? Wait a minute.
See, everybody, we love doing our research on the fly to make sure. That's what we do, by golly, and there's nothing wrong with it. And we do our research. We don't know everything.
Well,
okay. So you do have you did have the zombie effect, but that was another Elseworld story type of deal where everybody in the Marvel universe became a zombie, and I think that was it was created by I think the Punisher is one that did it or something like that. It was pretty interesting. Like everybody pretty much like what's that? Captain America, Iron Man, all of them pretty much became zombified. But Peter Parker was another one that did that.
And too, DC did that storyline too. They did the whole zombifying of the DC universe, and I think that was all just because zombies have been hot for the last 10 years now with Walking Dead.
10?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, with the Walking Dead, Walking Dead's been going for about 10 years now. So, and I think that's the only reason both Marvel and DC are like, oh, well, we got to do our Walking Dead universe too. They're just piggybacking off of the Walking Dead and trying to get some.
Marvel's piggybacking off of AMC.
Yeah,
I think it's the other way around, sir.
How do you figure?
I figured because there was
Marvel
Walking
didn't
Dead
come up with
out when Spider-Man was out.
Do what?
Wait a minute. Time out. This is not about zombies. This is about Spider-Man. Making a note.
I'm talking about when Spider-Man came out.
Tom,
what's that? Tobey Maguire Spider-Man came out before The Walking Dead.
Well, yeah,
so that's what I'm saying.
I understand that, but I'm not Tobey Maguire
and Iron Man.
Right, I agree, but I'm saying that Marvel. I'm not saying that they're. I'm saying the whole zombie thing has been a successful genre, okay? And Marvel and DC, I'm not just saying Marvel, just Marvel. Okay. Both of them has said, "Oh, that's successful. Let's jump onto that bandwagon and get a little bit of that money." That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay.
They stole that storyline. They really did. But they steal storylines all the time. That's nothing new for the
making
comic.
it their own. They're making it try to make a buck.
I understand. Look, I'm not against it. It's fine.
It's
just saying
not original. Like a multiverse is not original.
Oh gosh, here we go. Wow. This is the most combative episode we've ever had.
I'm having fun.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
I want to go back to the aspect of what. Okay, so I think we already hit on the topics of what we don't like if they were to kill off Peter Parker's character, right? We already established like, okay, what we expect. What's our expectation as far as like, okay, if somebody was to take over the mantle first before they introduce a clone, if there's a olive branch moment with this.
Sure.
But say if it's a good thing, say if it's one of those moments where we want to see a different take on the clone version of Peter Parker. I want to get into let's talk about the abilities and traits of what he could be if there was a retelling of just a clone version of Peter Parker. So Mike, you already stated that he could be evil and he could be, working with the organization in order to put, the original Peter Parker to shame and making him not so friendly neighborhood spider. And it could, it's tarnishing his legacy. And then, the original Peter Parker could probably come back and said so many issues and he has to correct that.
Sure.
Mike, what would be your take on that? I'm sorry, Stephen, what would be your take on that?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know. You're going to have to let me process that for a second. Mike.
Okay.
Well, I do like this. Okay, I got to admit, when I first read this article, I hated the idea of a cloned Peter Parker, cloned Spider-Man. I was just like, okay, this, to me, I thought that was lazy writing right there. I was like, all right, we've been down this clone stuff before. But after all of us started talking about this, it struck me. I was like, wait a minute. We could have this Order 66 aspect of this, which plays into the Black Widow movie, which we haven't done our episode on that, and we're going to. But
save it. I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, okay. Well, there's an element of mind control in Black Widow.
Okay.
I think
that's already been established.
Right. So that's not really a spoiler per se. So and I think we might see that come up in this Spider-Man storyline if it happens. And when I started thinking about that, I was like, okay, if we get a somewhat evil version of Peter Parker for a short period, of course. I don't want this to be the Peter Parker forever. I think that would be an interesting take on Peter Parker. So once I thought about that, I was like, okay, maybe the clone idea isn't as bad an idea as I thought originally. This could be a good storyline. But I think it does have to end eventually with Peter Parker coming back, and then you have a battle between not so friendly Spider-Man and your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Okay. I think that if they do go in that direction and have a clone version of a Spider-Man, it's going to basically elevate someone else to come up to, another superhero that can have better, similar traits and abilities and stuff like that in order to, go head to head. I think that's a really good take on it too.
Yeah, that could be good.
And it's the whole multiverse corporation thing. I don't know if anybody really seen The Boys or they know who Homelander is and stuff. It kind of seemed like that it's giving me that type of vibe when they're talking about, okay, we have our controlled person that backs our corporation who already sells the brand. He's the spokesman. He's the front person out there. But then again, we're doing all the stuff back here that's, behind the scenes. And as long as that person is like that. Yeah. So I thought that's the take I thought they were going with this. When I was reading the article about it, I was like, oh, okay. So they're going like the Boys type of deal. Okay. It seems to be.
What were you going to say, Stephen?
No, the aspect, that's an interesting thought there. And I've seen The Boys. I've seen the seasons that we have right now.
I only saw a couple episodes. I didn't care for it.
It's unique. It's unique.
I like the idea behind it. I just didn't get into it. That's
the concept of having a corporation that's behind a quote unquote hero or a superhero or something, and they are in charge of marketing, that hero, making sure everything's good. Yep. But in the behind the scenes, the quote unquote hero is not really a good person, and right. So so they're kind of coming from it. That's interesting. I don't know. I don't think I have any really issues with killing off Spider-Man Peter Parker Spider-Man because we know they'll come back. And another interesting thought, Mike, on the whole aspect is if there's some type of mind control or a chip or something, a clone, that, and the clone goes bad for a little bit or what have you. Okay. I don't know. I would like to see them, whatever they do, if they're introducing a new character, if that's meant to be, what's his name? What is it? Ben? Is there a Ben that's coming, like taking on the mantle or something? But anyway, if it's a whole new character and they're bringing in a new Spider-Man, I'd like to see that. I don't know if I really want to see. I don't know if I really want to see. Miles Morales be the one, even though I love Miles Morales. I think he's got his own storyline and rolling with it, and I love it.
Oh, you mean to take over for Peter Parker take over for
I
Peter
agree
Parker,
with that. Whenever they do that.
No, I think Miles Morales should stay where he's at. That's where
he's Miles Morales Spider-Man.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So if we get a new one, what have you, it'd be just interesting to see what they do with it, and they're just saying that. Or the only reason we have the article is they're trying to drum up business. Well, of course they are, try to get people Spider-Man and stuff. So
hence what we're doing here. We're discussing it. So
and too, okay, so Spider-Man is a part of this corporation and he's trying to play ball by basically being a part of the marketing campaign. They don't like his take on it because, maybe they have a difference of opinion. So therefore they have to get rid of this Spider-Man, kill the Spider-Man. And they have a synthesized version, a clone version of the Spider-Man. So therefore he can be more in a controlled substance because we already know Spider-Man is more of, I think that over time, everybody, yes, we do love our, neighborhood friendly Spider-Man, the kid version of that. But then again, he grows up, he has a family. Sure. Spider-Man, he's not the same, quick-witted young boy like how we're accustomed to. So I'm assuming that over time, everybody's going to, be a little bit more susceptible towards, hey, a more mature Spider-Man. Obviously, he's going to have to be more mature because his tech grows over time too. So I think that's probably going to be the talking point, or probably a direction that they can go in. Hey, we can't get the more respected version of it. We have an altered version of it, and then we have to kill said Peter Parker so we can keep this business going.
This is not your father's Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, another hashtag.
Yeah. I agree with that. I would agree with that wholeheartedly. Yeah.
Nice.
Well, it makes sense. In all openness, it does make sense that, our society changes, or, we can't keep our daddy Spider-Man. The stories grow. That's like J.K. Rowling with Harry Potter. The first book was very kid friendly, but but she specifically, through each book, they got older and more mature. Mm-hmm. And I get that, as the character grows, the world grows around the character grows with the world. So yeah, okay. So I can get that. I can get behind that.
I get that. I follow what you're saying, but the core values of the character have to remain. Once you start changing the core values of the character is no longer what the original character was.
Right.
And that's where I would have an issue. Which I'm okay with this idea of a clone Spider-Man because it's not our Peter Parker. So you can play with that clone and you can do whatever the heck you want with it. You can change the core values of this Peter Parker.
Right.
And I'd be okay with that. And I like this aspect again of the idea of a mind-controlled Peter Parker that may be being controlled by a corporation, like you were talking, and have nefarious reasoning behind it, possibly. Which could open up the door to either a new Peter Parker or a new Spider-Man, not a new Peter Parker, but a new Spider-Man, which could give us that new Spider-Man who might be a little more up to date to today's issues, but at the same time still have those core values that the Spider-Man we love and we grew up with still have those core values. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yep, because that goes back to the example that we gave with Captain America, with the Spider-Man is he a clone? Don't change. If you take the core character that we've built our own headcanon around, that we've been like, hey, this is who they are. I don't mind you throwing stuff at them and they're going through stress. And I mean, that's what makes a story. You get conflict. But when all of a sudden you change that character, no, time out. No. And maybe that's it. Maybe this whole thing with this new Spider-Man is the opportunity to introduce, they have a concept of a new Spider-Man, but they know they couldn't do it. They couldn't do that core value change. In other words, hey, but we got this great idea for Spider-Man, but that's a different core value set. We really can't do that with Peter Parker. Let's kill him off to introduce him. And we all know, and we all joke that we're going to bring back we'll bring him back, whatever, if he's the clone, or, we don't know what writers talk about behind the scenes about how they're doing stuff. It's just one writer or a group of writers, whatever they're doing. Maybe big picture wise, they're like, we'll bring him back. This is a clone. He goes, it's the Spider-Man clone. But what if we bring back the original real Spider-Man that he was in a coma for the last 7 years. And then we get the clone and he's the one that's bad and he's the one that dies. But then we've got this new Spider-Man. How cool would it be for Peter Parker, the one that's been asleep for all this time, to become the mentor to the new Spider-Man?
I don't know.
I like that.
Okay, never mind that. But my point being is,
I like that
core
a lot.
values.
I think my head hurts after that.
Right? Sorry, my point being is the core values. Mike, I think you're making a really good point about core values and changing the things. And I think that's the issue. I think some people may be concerned with the aspect they're going to kill off Spider-Man. I mean, maybe not aware of all the other Spider-Mans that's happened in the past, or, those different deaths or almost deaths or whatever. But I think the core values, are you changing the core values? And that may be it, because everybody has their own headcanon and don't mess with it.
True. Don't mess with my headcanon.
There you go. And, it's always the effect, too. We can always go back in time. For example, the portal that's behind Steven right there. I'm pretty sure we can go back in time to go get hey, we don't like what happened in this timeline. Let's go and get the original Peter Parker, and let's hopefully things go back to normal. All right, we can have everybody. You good? Everybody?
Yeah, but
good?
then the TVA is coming after you.
Oh yeah.
Everybody, that's from Loki. If you haven't seen Loki, the Disney Plus series, TVA's organization that goes and tries to fix the timeline where people screw it up.
What does the TVA stand for? Time. What is it?
Time Variance Authority or something like that.
Time Variance Authority. Okay.
I think I could be wrong.
And I liked Loki. I thought it was good. I thought it was really good. Yeah, we're gonna have to do a Loki episode, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah. So, anyway, those are my thoughts. Those are my things about the whole, with the article and Death Spider-Man. I'm okay with it, but don't mess with my headcanon. Where do we get that from? John Jackson Miller. That was the episode with John Jackson Miller. We got the concept of headcanon that we started talking about.
Well, that's not where the concept of headcanon came from.
No. But that's where we started using it, was because of conversation with him where he was like, look, if you like that novel, make it part of your headcanon.
I totally agree.
just because it says Legends, Star Wars, we're talking about Star Wars novels, everybody, sorry. Right. If it's Legends and you like that as part of your headcanon of your story of Star Wars, who's to say it's not wrong, kind of a thing. So,
well, Darth Plagueis will always be headcanon in my headcanon as official Star Wars. So, yeah.
Right. And Peter Parker will always be my Spider-Man.
Yeah, I agree.
And my headcanon.
I agree. Yep.
Oh yeah, and Goku would always be my favorite anime. Sorry, I just you can't tell me who anything different about Dragon Ball Z. I'm telling you that now.
You're right. I can't tell you anything different about Dragon Ball Z.
Ash Ketchum from Pallet Town is the original OG Pokemon trainer. I'm telling you that right now. Yes. Cancel region.
Real quick, 30 second off topic. Did you think Matrix, the third movie, that final scene?
How are we getting back on Matrix again?
Well, wait a minute. Was a ripoff off of Goku fights?
Oh yeah, you talking about when they was basically fighting in the air and doing all the power-ups and everything?
Yes.
The only thing they didn't do is
all Dragon Ball.
Spoiler alert, I haven't seen Matrix 3.
Well, it'll give you something to look forward.
Okay, so if you watch they kind of use the same scene from what's the guy who played in it's going to hit me in a second.
Are we talking about
Matrix and the Dragon Ball live action movie? That scene where they had the Piccolo and the Goku character, the guy who played Goku, he was the one of the actors from Breaking Bad. He played the actual Goku character. Oh. That scene where they both hit head to head and they caused that big sphere of just water.
Right.
That was that was the part that was in the Dragon Ball movie. I thought that was pretty crazy. Yeah. But yes.
Yeah. All right. So there's my 30-second off topic. I'm sorry, Mike. Thank you for that.
No problem.
And I thought that may be another interesting discussion later on. So, all right. So back to Spider-Man, wrapping things up. Wrapping it all up.
So it kind of sounds like we're all okay with it if they kill Peter Parker off.
It seems like it. Yeah, I think it just depends on what they do with it.
I mean, at least in our little realm here, I don't know about Marvel fandom in general. I don't know how they feel about it, but I think it depends on where they go with the story. It'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And there's a way, if there's an olive branch that makes sense, yes, it's good. Or if it's a story where we can go back. Like I said, they said that this was the Universal Beyond Corporation or whatnot. So therefore we have a way back. So if it's just like, oh, well, he just dies and that's it. No, people are not going to take well to that. Or if it's a story arc like within Civil War or something like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, we kind of had that discussion in our other episode with Aaron, with the Joker. I don't like it. I don't like it when I have a hero I enjoy and they kill off that hero and he doesn't have a hero's death. I know realistically in real life we're not all going to die a hero's death.
He had an allergic reaction to peanut butter and died.
Right. Who wants to? That would be like the suckiest ending for Peter Parker, Yeah, if Peter Parker's if they're gonna kill off Peter Parker, I want him to have a hero's death. That's my only issue. As long as they give him a good hero's death, I'm fine with it.
All right. We'll have to do a follow-up. I'll be interested to see what they do because they haven't mentioned anything of what they're going to do.
I have no clue what they're going to do with that. So we'll see what happens. We'll see.
Yep.
All right.
Oh, my. Tharen, hey, thanks for being here with us. It's great having you on. Thanks for sparks flying. It was great. some throwdown action going on. It was great. I loved it. And all. Yeah. So it's good to have you with us. So thank you so much for joining us and all.
Oh, no problem.
And I think it's true. Mike is as our third co-host. I think we've had you on several times now. So this has been great. So, all right. Well, hey, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for hanging out with us this long, and because this was a good episode, but boy, we really dropped down some stuff on it. So anyway, hey, with that, Mike, it's up to you. It's all you now, my friend.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, Tharen, for joining us. Yeah, the sparks did fly, but I think in the end we all kind of agreed anyway. So I think that's just our goofy personalities. But all right. With that said, I will bid everyone farewell, over and out, and may the force be with you. Thank you for joining us today on the Two Geeks and a Microphone podcast. Tune in next week when we will have more news and reviews. Until then,
may the force be with you.